Delighted with the way the game started. Get a goal in front, could be more positive. In fact, I think there were a lot of very bright and purposeful things going on in that first half. Fafa and Jacob, a combination that we've not seen up front before, I thought were very, very effective. And quite frankly, should have been put into some better positions, but for maybe a lack of feeling and quality in that final pass. But listen, to score 2 goals against a very good side, but to go in 3-2 down is, for this team, pretty mind-blowing, especially the way that the goals came about. Some very disappointing defending, and I don't say that too often, but in the end, we've looked at that 4th goal straight away, and I think the guys realise that there's an awful lot of energy, and I think everyone in that locker room are very, very keen to put themselves on the front foot and get out of the slump that we've been in, that has been up and down. But unfortunately, not tonight.
Any question? Yeah, Gary, you just alluded to it, just kind of not getting them the ball as much. It felt like throughout the night, Luke and Fafa and Hani were making runs and calling for the ball and just not getting it. Do you think that's a fair assessment?
I think it's a very reasonable assessment. If we could break down the game in front of us now on these TVs, I think you're going to see the guys up front making some terrific movements. And there's 2 things at the moment, and it often happens when a team's going through a little bit of a difficult spell. The first one is people start to lose a bit of confidence in their connections and their understanding in and around the group. And there's no doubt there are far too many mistakes being made on the ball, whether that is a creative pass or an opportunity to get some of these forwards into more aggressive positions. And the second one is that you start to just get frustrated and lose some shape and lose some of those clear, concise values that I think we've been very renowned for in the past. And we're seeing both of those at the moment. The one thing I would say is that scoring 3 goals against a very good side, and of course the energy and the efforts that you're seeing from the guys, would suggest to me that there's an awful lot still to work with, and that will drag us out of this.
Gary, you said the defending might have not been at the best level. What, from your point of view, what exactly happened? I think we saw your defenders giving goals that are not usually given up by. What happened, I guess, to cause that?
Well, I think there's a couple of things. The first one is that there's got to be an intensity and a drive and a competitiveness about the individuals on the field. And I don't think we can say that everyone's really right on the button right now. That can be fatigue at this stage of the season, of course. We can certainly say that the climate has affected the way that players go about their business throughout the 90 minutes. It's also choices of when to track players, when some of the communication that goes on. And there's a lot of breakdowns at the moment. They made absolutely the most of it. The first goal that we saw at half-time from the throw-in, for a group as well-versed as this one is, it's hugely disappointing. I've not been involved in too many games with this group where we've conceded 4 goals and we've gone in front and lost the game. And we've done both in one injury. That's not a good sign. And there's an awful lot that we can do to improve that. And I'm sure we will. And the other one, of course, is right now, again, for whatever reason, discipline is an issue. I don't know quite what happened with the second yellow card. I need to look into that. But it's most unlike. So, Teal, I think Fafa's known Teal an awful long time. Two sendings off for Teal Is that right? Am I right in saying that? Or is this just the first one? The first one. There's been so many of them, I forget now. It's so unlike him. So unlike him, especially in the space of 45 minutes, to be ejected. So, a lot to consider. A lot to consider.
Another question? Yeah, Coach. So you just obviously talked about the red cards. That's 6 in the last 6 matches. I know you just talked about it, but how do you correct that discipline and just move forward? And, if you move on next week, or if you don't play until New England in August, how do you correct that discipline?
Well, there's a couple of things that I think we can put in place, and we've started to turn the wheels on that. There are only normally a few things that you can do that start to affect players' mentality and maybe reactions. And I'd like to keep those a little bit closer to my chest. But for sure, it's unacceptable. Six red cards in 6 games. Unfortunately, tonight, in a position where we may have been able to just mount a little bit of pressure, the sting was obviously taken out of it. And it's normally the case when you lose a player. Whether you end up losing the game or not able to mount the sort of final moments that you would like. So, yeah, again, something for me certainly to be a little bit more forceful with, maybe. But honestly, I think if you take the body of work over the last 3.5 years, and I know I've said this before, this is a very unique window of time. We can't keep saying it, but we've got a group of players here that have gone a long, long time without too many issues. I don't have the answer as to why, but there's certainly some frustrations in the group, maybe through the results and the way that our form's gone. That may well be a fact. But it certainly shouldn't detract from the fact that we need to keep 11 players on the field.
Papa, from a player's perspective, it's still kind of unknown whether or not we go into the next round, of course. But Gary talked about the fatigue and kind of maybe at this point of the season playing too many games. From a player's perspective, would you prefer to have a couple of weeks off and come back to MLS, MLS play energized, or you as a player, you want to keep playing every week until MLS comes back?
From my perspective, I want to win everything. So I think we share that as a group. That's shut up time. We don't come into the League's Cup taking it as a vacation cup. So I think we want to go through. It's another opportunity to bring some silverware to the club. So as far as we can go, and not satisfied we go, if we can win this, I think it'll be huge for the club and big for us. So we have enough depth and we have a good enough group to get through this and still be able to be productive throughout the week. So definitely not looking forward to having weeks off to just wait for the league again. So that's where my head is.
Any more questions? Thank you very much for your
Thank you.
Thank you all for your time.
I think